every time the rain hits the window screen and I want the wiper to go, you can just have a machine learning that says, I recognize that hand gesture. Therefore, the window wipers go on.
Right. And my
lights or
adaptive lighting, like driver intent monitoring.
Yeah.
Okay, the driver is looking at the infotainment screen. Why
turn it on?
Turn it on.
Cool.
Okay, the driver is looking for a cap in the side.
Wow.
Light it up.
So this becomes the interface. Hello IPX. We are here yet again at CES for yet again a demonstration of a very interesting company called Neonode, who have a rich history and legacy in HMI hardware and software, and we're going to talk to Per about how they have now moved to a different business model and creating a different solution which is very innovative and disruptive. Per, let's start with just a background about Neonode and where you've come from and that legacy with HMI.
Right. We started off as a smartphone company early 2000s. With launching the world's first gesture-based smartphone way before the competition and the era of smartphones. We had some issues with struggling with fierce competition with some fruit companies from California and others.
Yeah.
So the company transitioned into a technology licensing company around 2010.
Yep.
Where we the bits and pieces from our patent portfolio, including optical sensor systems for human-machine interfaces, touchscreens, gesture control, proximity detection.
Yep. So very typical HMI applications.
That's correct. Consumer electronics and automotive domain.
Okay.
Since 2017, we started a completely new development, a software-only solution. Still automotive, but addressing a completely new, trying to solve a completely new problem.
Okay.
So what we're going to demonstrate here.
So that's what we're showing here? Yeah?
Yes.
So talk about how this software works.
Right. So what we have here is a software platform for driver and in-cabin monitoring. Truly hardware-agnostic, meaning we can use whatever camera or cameras or camera radar fusion or what have you in whatever position in the cabin and get a full 3D perception of the vehicle space.
Right.
Including, full body tracking of all occupants, eye tracking and face tracking of drivers and occupants.
Right.
Real-time hand tracking.
So is the reason why you did that is because you see the identification and the amount of data that potentially you're going to have to machine learn. If you're both being hardware and software, you're going to fall short on both. So it's better to be just absolutely brilliant at one thing.
Absolutely.
And you view that being the software.
That's correct.
Okay.
And with some great experiences and know-how from 10 years in automotive, we started this development and actually actively were late to the party in this domain because we have quite a different approach from our competitors.
Right.
So it was an active decision. So we launched officially last spring and got our breakthrough order, becoming a tier 1 for this solution.
Yeah.
For one of the largest truck OEMs in the world.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. So
very
it's
good.
Exciting times.
All right. So let's dive straight, because what our community is actually completely interested in is disruptive. They know the mainstream. They understand the mainstream. What they want to know is what happens if I come with Neonode and I then go purely software. I use the hardware where I've already decided, but I'm going to use Neonode software to do the sort of face recognition and data acquisition, for want of a better phrase, inside the cabin of the car.
Yeah, right. So what we have here is the purpose is to showcase the 3D perception we have.
Okay.
We have the XYZ of all people in this volume, in this space.
Yep.
And specifically a vehicle cabin.
Yep. Why is 3D important?
For many reasons. Of course, for it all starts off with safety.
Okay.
So having a full 3D perception of specifically the driver is key.
Right.
Looking for distraction and drowsiness. Drowsiness.
Right. But why does that have to be done? Why does that have to be done in 3D?
Because it's a space, and we have to know where the driver is.
The reason why I ask is because we've been going around CES and we've been seeing lots and lots of AI, face recognition, body recognition, movement detection. CES is full of AI movement detection at CES.
Right.
You're the first people who have said 3D's key.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Right.
So there must be a reason why you've said 3D is vital.
Yeah, of course. It's like looking at the cabin for some safety features. Looking at seatbelt detection.
Yes.
You have a proper. You have the seatbelt properly attached.
Right.
You need to have the depth in order for the airbag.
Yep.
To come out in a proper way.
Yeah. Yep.
You need a full.
I'm not questioning that 3D is the right way. I'm just trying to understand.
So it thousand good reasons.
Yes.
For
I'm trying to
3D.
understand the subtleties of why. So you're explaining what you're really explaining is there is so much going on in the cabin.
Right.
You need to differentiate, and unless you do that in 3D, you can't differentiate subtleties like seatbelt or where the seat is, or understand how the airbag's going to come out. So your point is, it's really vital to have 3D because there's so much subtlety going on in the cabin.
Correct.
Right.
So it's not only about the front row of the car cabin, of course. So pet left behind, child left behind are some key features. So even looking at the back seats, and that comes with another depth. Longer away from the camera.
Right.
So we have a holistic, full cabin approach.
Right. And is this what you're showing here now then?
Yeah, just to show we can detect all heads in real time.
Oh, I see.
In any space. In this case, it's not a closed environment.
Yep.
But you got the point.
Yes, I do.
Worth mentioning here as well, when it comes to depth and 3D, the third dimension of it, in this case, despite the fact that we, in this case, use a simple tablet camera.
Yes.
It's a simple 2D camera.
Yes.
But we have a beautiful way to...
Which is the key point about what you're actually... So if we were to start this conversation again...
Yeah.
Let's imagine we are.
Yeah.
What you're saying, the reason why you've gone hardware agnostic is because that's a commodity.
Yes.
That is a simple commodity. That's everywhere.
And worth mentioning, adding to this, is the fact that the main driver for all of this is an upcoming European legislation for a driver monitoring system in all cars sold in Europe later this year, 2024. Meaning you need a camera-based system like this to make its way into the Renault Clio, the Dacias, not only the high-end cars.
Yeah.
Meaning you need to be able to rely on simple,
very simple,
low-resolution, crappy cameras, commodity cameras.
Perfect.
And we make the most out of that. And let the magic happen.
So that's why you've come out of hardware and you said this is all about software.
Right.
Not to say that's a crappy camera, but I get your point. It's a commoditized camera. It's everywhere. And you wouldn't normally recognize that as being able to do 3D.
Correct.
And using your clever software, it does.
We have a beautiful depth estimation, despite the fact we don't have a 3D camera.
No, which is really the point. Okay,
right.
So you just explained how in the EU, if you're going to have every single car has got to have 3D analysis, they're going to use commoditized cameras, so therefore you're the added value. Just talk about the future a little bit, because our community is all about the future. It's all about what can I do. So I'm taking it that 3D perception software with this camera, industrial electronics, potentially, what other applications would you be looking at?
I'd like to firstly stay within automotive.
Please do.
And as I said, we're late to the party. and that was an active decision. The basic mandatory features for all European cars sold, from 2024 onwards, need to have a system like this.
Yep.
It's a fierce competition out there, and to fill these mandatory boxes, that's one thing. We do that, but we don't only do that. The beauty and what we strongly believe in is rather what comes next.
Yes.
Okay, dear BMW or Mercedes, now we got this expensive hardware installed in all our cars.
Yeah.
Meaning we have the camera, we have the computational power.
Yep.
Okay, hey Neonode, what's next? What's beyond these
tick boxes? We have to have it. Yep.
Right.
So what is next?
What else can we do with the same hardware?
Yeah.
And that's where we come in with a efficient platform that scales very well, and with over-the-air updates in the future in all cars.
Yep.
It's rather not a one-off engagement with us. It's rather long-term cooperation with our customers, typically.
Yep. So let's just introduce what that means. So I'm imagining that that's a lot of data. You're taking a lot of data, and you have to have flexibility to understand what that data is. So I'm assuming, because I've been wandering around CES for 2 days, you're going to start talking about AI and machine learning. Would I be wrong or would I be right?
Right.
Tell me about that.
Some hands-on features. We can move on. So what we have here, a hands-on feature beyond the mandatory boxes that are already ticked. A great example, using the existing hardware, as I said.
Yep.
For something
very
completely
convenient.
different.
Very convenient for the OEM. They're not changing anything.
Exactly. And
perfect.
Now with a new business model of selling features over the air,
yes,
you can have a feature growth over time.
Yes.
That you can sell to your end user of the car.
Yes.
This is one great example. Today, you got typically capacitive sensors. If you want to detect if the driver is holding the steering wheel,
yep,
you have to have some capacitive sensors or other torque sensors built into the steering wheel.
Yes.
What we offer instead is, what a nice coincidence. We have the camera hardware installed in the cabin, seeing the steering wheel.
Right.
Why not use that to
So
detect?
you're using that to interact. So you're not just using it to see what's going on in the cabin. You're using it to interact with the driver.
Right. So typically the camera.
So you could be using hand gesture in order to make things happen with how the driver interacts with the usability and the car.
Exactly that. Meaning we already have the full, the real-time hand tracking of the driver and the occupants.
Yeah.
Why can't we easily apply this to the steering wheel?
So a really silly example, because I have an EV, is turning on the wipers, right?
Yeah.
Which you can ridiculously ask Google to do. Don't know why you would, but you can. But if you had hand gesture, you could just go,
right,
and it will recognise that I've gone. So rather than me having to worry about doing this every time the rain hits the window screen and I want the wiper to go, you can just have a machine learning that says, I recognise that hand gesture, therefore the window wipers go on.
Right. And my
lights or
adaptive lighting, like driver intent monitoring.
Yeah.
Okay, the driver is looking at the infotainment screen. Why
turn it on?
Turn it on.
Cool.
Okay, the driver is looking for a cap in the side.
Wow.
Light it up.
So this becomes the interface.
Right. And you already have it in your car.
You're already there.
And you already paid for it.
And I didn't say crappy camera. Somebody
did.
But it's not. But the point is, it's there.
Right.
It's a commodity.
Right.
But you turn it into a massive value add once you get it to be the interface.
Right. And my personal favorite when it comes to future features is that back to the hand tracking and trying to monitor the driver intent. Let's imagine the driver is moving his or her hand towards the door handle while parked. due to the fact that the car has exterior sensors and
It can predict.
full 360 view,
It can predict.
it can say, is it appropriate timing to open the door in this position given this point in time?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
not, lock the door.
Yeah. So what you're actually saying is, if the reason why you're agnostic to hardware is because the hardware actually is bringing no value. It's all about potentially the software that's interacting with the driver, which is either reacting to something he's asking to do or being predictive in behavior.
Yes, and the solid business case for the vehicle maker, when they realize we got this expensive camera already installed, why not replace all this
All of these.
single-purpose sensor hardware everywhere in the car?
Yeah.
Use what you have.
Well, actually, I mean, you know, we have this amazing scenario where, you know, you're not allowed to use your phone inside the car, but you're still allowed to smoke.
Right.
I mean, all of the sort of weird and wonderful things that are in the legislation. But at the end of the day, every button, whichever car you drive, and I've driven quite a few of the EVs, you're still looking down, you're still interacting with something, you're still taking away your eyes from what you're supposed to be doing.
Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. Keep it simple.
Absolutely. And you're saying that could all be learned and become interactive based on maybe a nod, a wink, or a hand movement, based on that camera and your software.
That's correct.
Wow, that's very disruptive.
So, Neonode, wasn't expecting that from them. So, if you followed ipXchange's coverage of Neonode before, it's all been about these IR bar sensors that basically make sure that any touch screens you can basically turn any surface into a touch surface, and it's very resistant to any changes in temperature, EMC, all that kind of jazz. But this is different. It's actually mind-blowing to me to see 3D face gesture and body tracking on a 2D camera, regardless of the camera. As Guy quite eloquently put it, software running with a crappy camera, 3D face tracking. So yeah, learn more about this on the board page, apply to evaluate it on ipXchange, and yeah, Neonode, you continue to surprise us. Keep designing.
Hey, yo, where my engineers at?